Tom, it was probably the separation, having him 350 kilometres away from home, and he's only 13, so I think it was the separation from home that we found pretty tough. And he was a little homesick, but I think that's par for the course. But he soon snapped out of it and stepped into the school role.
I think probably the hardest thing I found was the fact that I had taught my two children all the way through from grade 1, and then I had to give up the control I had over their schooling, and I wasn't involved anymore in their daily homework or anything that they actually had to do with the school, and the decisions of what subjects they chose and their sports and their friends and things. I'm not a control freak, but I found that hard to give that away, that I was no longer part of their life 24 hours.
Probably the distance and not being able to be at everything we want to be at and celebrate with the kids when they're at boarding school, having been a boarder in my past life. But financial cost was a big one, but on a social, I think that not being able to share everything with you.
I think the hardest thing is not having them with you all the time and being able to share everything with them.
Well, obviously breaking up the family dynamics. We weren't that isolated, so we did get to see them, quite often, but still it was very difficult, probably more so for our youngest when the last one left home. That was probably the hardest thing, missing them, and they also were able to help on the property, which when they left us shorthanded at times, even though they were quite little.
I have two children, and they're 10 years apart. So 10 years ago, when I sent my son to boarding school, it was extremely hard. I'd only recently moved to the bush, so I found that separation very, very hard. And every time I walked past his bedroom, I cried for 6 weeks. Then I slowly got used to it, and also the network in the country and the people in my community were very supportive, so that really helped me get through it and get to accept it. And once you realise the opportunities that they have, it becomes easier. And then when I sent my daughter away just this year, it was much easier than it was the first time. So I'm not sure what that was, whether I've just become used to living in the bush and become used to the idea that we have to send them. There is no option, they have to go to boarding school. But I did find it hard and still get a bit emotional when I think about having to send them away.
My 4 children studied distance education for their primary years, and we then had to send them away to boarding school. The hardest part was sending them away when they were 13, going into year 8. The hardest thing is sending them away when they're so young, and when they go away they're children. When they come back home again, they're adults. And it depends whether they want to have a gap year or not. But I just think boarding school it sort of rounds off their education, in my opinion. So.